You know, Son of Man expect this to be done. The Son of Man expect that to be done. I got to get out here and get this done. You see? So I told you, I ain't gonna let you work harder than me. That ain't finna happen. Just go to looking and you'll see. You ain't working no harder than me. Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, coffee. Watch your rags. I say, watch your rags. Oh. And turn that thing off when you finish. Okay. Are you in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see here. You can start the recording.
Conference recording started. Conference recording started. The recording has started.
Pick up your copy of the Son of Man Speaks magazine today. With the Son of Man Speaks magazine, you'll receive automotive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Get your copy of The Son of Man Speaks from these select locations. Sisters, Grade 2, 18070 Mount Elliott, the Shell gas station, 13110 West 7 Mile Road. To get a subscription, call 601-786-9788. That's 601-786-9788. The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed. Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, now available. Your Son of Man Speaks magazine digital subscription. Your digital subscription to the Son of Man Speaks magazine will also include our monthly e-newsletter, both delivered to your inbox. If you have any questions regarding the digital magazine subscription or digital newsletter, you may send an email to shabazsprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. That's shabazsprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. Or call 1-601-786-9788. That's 1-601-786-9788. You can also subscribe online. Visit www.thenewnationofislam.com and click on the magazine tab to register for your online subscription.
Murray, on the clock. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray, here's the downfield.
Oh man, the power's out again.
You have reached Quality Construction and Engineering, your #1 emergency generator source.
Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. With a backup generator, your life goes on uninterrupted with power when you need it. Not to mention the peace of mind of having your property sealed to weather the storm.
Whoever would have thought in Houston, Texas, that we would have an ice storm? It did happen, and that Sunday night when it came in, I got up and looked out the front door, everything was pitch black. It was horrible. Something out of a novel or a science book that you had never seen before. Once the lights went out, my generator popped on. It ran 55 hours, and the only one had lights.
Get your backup generator installed with Quality Construction. We install both residential and commercial generators, so you're always covered. Schedule your consultation with us by calling 1-855-876-9370. That's 1-855-876-9370. Or visit us online at www.qualityconstruction.com. 18 months.
That was the best investment that we could have ever made. That's my backup, the Generac.
Generators with quality construction, built tough enough to weather the storm.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoed how you felt? Well, search no more and call Designs by Deej. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured items. We also offer holiday cards. With Designs by Deej, no holiday will go unnoticed. Our unique greeting cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional, handmade greeting cards for all occasions. Specializing, we also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made with love. So call Designs by Deej today at 601-451-9536 or visit our website, www.designsbydeej.com.
We love Detroit. We are at where?
Hey, Larry, we are right here on North Alley in Detroit at Sisters Braid 2 Hair Salon.
I'm talking. Please, this place. It looks like Beverly Hills or something.
Absolutely beautiful. You guys know I wear my braids. Larry's gonna buy me something. It's gonna be a hairdo, guys.
What you want?
It's gonna be my hair today.
Eighth grade.
Welcome to this week's edition of We Love Detroit. I am on Detroit's east side at Sisters Braid 2, a beautiful hair salon. I am here with the CEO, Miss Crystal. How are you today, Miss Crystal?
I'm good. Thank you.
I am so excited to be here. Everybody know I love my hair and I love my braids typically. You guys know, but you have to tell us, how did Sisters Braid 2 get started?
We started Sisters Braid 2 in 2009 in order to bring back some experience and quality and great customer service to this craft that I love so much.
Yes, wonderful. And it's so clean and professional. And I have such a warm feeling when I come in. It's beautiful in here. It's decorated so beautifully. What made you come and choose this spot right in the heart of Detroit, on Detroit's east side? What made you come?
Well, we have this building and we just wanted to do something with it. It's a collective effort from the New Nation of Islam. And we came in and they allowed me to decorate it and set up like I wanted to, and that's how we got started with that.
Now listen, not only do you guys do braids, because that's what's in the title, but you don't only do braids, you do all hair care here, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the other services you offer.
Yeah, so we offer all phases of braids, but we also offer natural styles like 2-strand twist, scalp twist, men's braids, children's braids, press and curls. The only thing we don't do is chemicals.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. And you know what? That's really important for all year round. And it's so huge now. What's being about protective styles for our hair, not just for the winter months, but all year round. It is important to protect our hair the best we can. And you do all styles for that. So I love that. But let's talk about an important product that you have, a really well-known product. Let's talk about
Okay, right. That's our Sister Shea oil. Yes, it's loaded with 10 to 12 great natural oils, aloe vera, shea butter, grapeseed oil, rosemary. So all those things that soothe the scalp while you're in braids, or even if you're not in braids, those things are going to hydrate those coils and keep your hair healthy.
And it's done really well, right? You've been on some really well-known shows, right?
Yeah, we've been on Live in the D. We've been on Channel 7. We're featured in Small Business Saturdays.
Fantastic.
We have the Spirit of Detroit Award.
She's on the Spirit of Detroit
Yeah,
and now she's on that award. We love Detroit.
Absolutely.
Now she's come around.
Yes.
Absolutely. We just love it. Right here, Sisters. Shay is the product. Sisters Braid 2 is the shop. When are you open, Crystal?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday. We start as early as 8 a.m. We take our last appointment around 6 p.m.
So appointments, because you want to make sure that you're being considerate of others' time.
Yes.
And because that's something that's very important.
Right. In order to give that comfortable quality service, we feel like the only way to go is by appointment.
That's right.
As soon as you get in, you're getting in the chair, you're getting serviced.
My favorite. I will definitely be coming down. Exactly my braids. You guys must too. It's beautiful in here. Over a decade of experience, wonderful customer service. It's so beautiful in here. I have to say, again, right here on Detroit's east side on Mount Elliott. Sisters Braid too. Yes. You have to come down. They gotta come down and see us, right, Chris?
Yes, absolutely.
Because we love Detroit.
Yes. We love Detroit. Yes. We love Detroit.
One more time.
We love Detroit.
Hey, another show, Ginger.
Larry, wasn't that so nice?
It was so fascinating. You know, it's amazing what people can do when they put their mind to.
Absolutely, especially in this beauty industry. You guys have to make sure to come on down to Sisters Braid too.
Just a jewel.
Yeah.
In the whole neighborhood.
Larry didn't buy me a style today, but at least I got an appointment for next
time. I gave you a smile.
Oh, sorry.
See you next week.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000 is a local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
To make your online tithes, offerings, donations, gifts to the Son of Man through Cash App, make your payment to $ New Nation of Islam. That's $ New Nation of Islam. Or call 601-786-7056. 601-786-7056.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scripture and not really understanding what you read? And if you're reasonably sure, have you ever tested that what you feel you know with someone that has a different view than your own? Then let's talk with one another. Then let's reason with one another on a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon. On WHPR TV Detroit Live, 88.1 FM WHPR, and Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning? You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, pardon me. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you who hungry and thirsty for Allah's righteousness, which is the understanding of the Holy Scriptures. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. If any of you have any questions or even statements that you needed to get off your chest, I will let you do that at this time, and we will answer any questions or any arguments that you may want to present against anything that we teach. We are not teaching something that we are afraid to be questioned on. If we can't be questioned on what we're teaching, we have no business teaching it. At least that's to my belief. What kind of teacher teaches and can't answer questions about what they're teaching? That's not teaching. You can't teach it if you can't be questioned. So I want to give you something else to think over. You know, I don't like doubt. I want to. I remember I was looking at Remember the Titans, and when they got past the racism and the coaches, the coach that was kind of reluctant at first, the white coach, he came on board all the way with Denzel, and him and Denzel made a pretty good team. And when he sent his defensive team back out there, he said, "Leave no doubt." I thought that was a beautiful line, the way they dropped it in there. So, have you thought about the judges that are appointed? That you vote in office, for instance, you vote for circuit judges. You vote them in office. Why do the people vote the judge in? It is so that the judge, while he's judging, he must remember, to whom much is given, much is required. And whoever gave it to you can take it from you. Do you understand? Most of the time, a judge does not lose his position if he's a straight shooter. If he follows and obeys the law, because most people who take the time to vote, they care about law. Do you understand? And so, as long as he follows the law, his position is pretty stable. But remember, he's the servant of who put him there. Is that right? Okay. That's not just true with judges. That's true with when you go to the a good example. Many of us, we think that we just can go out here and drive. But driving is a privilege. And as long as you obey the ones who gave you that privilege, which is the people again, through their judges and through the representatives of the people. You notice a DA is called, You know, it's just like what they actually doing, what this stuff that is so crazy, Jim Jordan up there. He's insulting the people of New York who the district attorney represents. You see, he's there interfering with this man doing his job, at least trying to interfere. And but anyway, see, they even forgot who put the man there. You see, and so this is you notice whenever a district attorney walks into court, the judge asks the district attorney, "Is the people ready to put on their case?" He's talking to the district attorney. Why does he say is the people? Because the district attorney represents the people of that district. Huh? It is the people versus whoever is on trial. Do you understand? And just like in New York, it is the people of New York versus Donald Trump. Yeah, you know, but see, they try to divide the people against themselves. You know, that's what they're trying to do. But anyway, but I'm getting at it. I'm going the long way around so that by the time I get to where I'm going, you won't be able to back up. So I know how to lay a foundation. When I lay a foundation, it ain't gonna move. Do you understand? it's gonna be there. You notice when you putting a physical foundation down, they put a footing around that foundation. The reason they call it a footing is so that no matter what happens, you know, if it gets regular rain or whatnot, ain't gonna bother it at all, because the foundation goes down about 1.5 feet or a little further, 18 inches or 24 inches. And then the 3-inch slab or 4-inch slab on top is connected to that footing. And that footing is down there holding that foundation in place. So likewise, you look at the judges are put in power by the people. The lawyers are put in power. The district attorneys that represent the people, they are put in power. Even the attorneys that represent clients, their power is extended to them from the state, which is the people. Do you understand? And the people, just like Giuliani, he had his law license taken back by the people because he did not comport himself in the way that an attorney in the state of New York or any, you know, most states, they have rules that attorneys have to, how they must conduct themselves. And if you don't conduct yourself in that way, your privilege to practice law in that state can be taken. Do you understand? Okay. That's the point. The one who gave it can take it away. Huh? All right. Now let's go to just about everything that you want to do. For instance, you know, you get a certificate. You get a certificate, a license to practice law. You get a license to do. Who issues the license? It comes from what? The state. Is that right? Okay. Now, so you know that when you practice in law, if you don't think you representing the state, because all lawyers, whether it's the the prosecutors, the district attorneys, or whether it's a lawyer in private practice. When he enters into that courtroom, he is an officer of the court. Do you understand? And he is expected to uphold the Constitution. He is expected to conduct himself with the proper comportment of a court of an officer of that court. Do you understand? And so, and if he fails to do that, the judge may hold him in contempt. And it depends on what he does, the judge may report him to the bar. Huh? And if a judge reports you, you gonna hear from the bar. You gonna hear something from him. So Geno Jennings, after he and I got through, now this was told to me that they took him out from over the apostle, the Church of the Apostle Doctrine, and that diocese or whatever you want to call them. They took him out of there. So he had to go open up his own thing. He started off on his own, But they removed him from there. You see, this is the thing that most people fail to understand. See, you haven't thought about this. But I'm trying to make you see that all of the religious people that you've been following in this world, they ain't never represented God. Because if they had represented God, couldn't nobody remove them but the one who put them there. Do you understand? Can't nobody remove me. It's like them Negroes thought that they could remove the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You couldn't remove him. You removed your foolish self. Do you understand? But I ain't getting no license to preach what Allah gave me to preach to you. What I look like going up there to the devil, asking him, can you give me a license so I can do what God said? Are you crazy? This is but all these preachers out here, they go and say that, hey, you gonna come to my, I'm gonna be ordained. Ordained by who? And whoever ordains you is the one who you represent. Do you understand? So, that's one truth that Neubauer told. Neubauer ain't getting no, he wasn't no ordained minister, obviously. And he simply said, I don't represent nobody but myself. That's what he said. And I'll give him that he was honest enough to tell the people that. Do you understand? But all these fellas running around here with a clergy license tag, and he been to his theological seminary school, and he graduated from this theological seminary school. Did Jesus graduate from the seminary college? What about Moses? Did he go to the seminary? Did any prophet go to a religious school of this world? Do you see how ignorant we have been? It wasn't that the devil was so smart. We were so dumb. And look, who had to teach them their religion? The one who gave them the license. I didn't hear you. So who are they representing? I mean, I ain't under no illusion when I go out to drive. I know I have to serve and carry myself, conduct myself in a way that the ones who gave me the privilege to drive, I have to obey them. But obey the laws of the road. If I don't, I soon will see a blue light in my rearview mirror, and I don't know if they can do it, but I think they can. If you do something too bad, he can take your license right there. Tell you, I'll see you in court. They can take your license. What you gonna say? No, I ain't gonna give it to you. Yeah, you gonna give it to her to show you that you don't run that out there. So you know, I'm trying to show you something. Can't nobody take the Bible away from me like I took it from y'all. I took the Bible and the Holy Quran away from the whole world. If I haven't taken it from you, you who say I ain't took it from you, come on in here and let's me and you read the book and see if I ain't took it from you. The Lord give it, and what? The Lord take it away. If I'm not the Lord, how am I able to take the books away from you? I didn't even know I was leading up to that part. So praises due to Allah. These are some wonderful classes, aren't they? Now, let me read something to you here. See, when you lay the foundation for something, it's easy for it to be stable. If you know how to lay a foundation, then, you know, you see that in court sometime. I bring up the term foundation because sometimes lawyers will say, objection, Your Honor, foundation. And the judge said, objection sustained. Where's this coming from, counsel? You haven't established that point there. What are you doing? Huh? You see, so you got to really, you got to be a thinker. To be a good lawyer, you got to be a good thinker. Do you understand? See, like good lawyers. You remember watching A Few Good Men? When the two young men, the young man was asked the question, about driving up to the barracks, and he was asked, about how long a drive is that, and Tom Cruise, Caffey, he put a question mark on the page to Demi Moore as to what is this question about here, and they didn't know where the man was going with that. Good lawyers, it's hard to know where they're going with something. Do you understand? Until they get there. Come to find out, the boy wasn't even in the room. He couldn't have been in there. He said, well, how was you in the room when this happened? If it took you 45 minutes to get up there, you couldn't have been there at the time that this conversation supposedly took place. I'm paraphrasing. And the boy got caught in that, and it almost trashed their case. You understand? And then Hollywood can fix it though. But anyway, the boy, wasn't even in the room to hear the conversation that he claimed took place, and so that it's always good to listen when people are talking. Now, look, what is listening? It is paying attention. Do you understand? If you want to get something out of a conversation, you have to pay for it. Pay what? Pay attention. See the term? Pay attention. Now, you may not get what you paid attention for, but you're going to have to pay attention for whatever you get. Do you understand? All right. That's an old saying. You don't always get what you pay for, but you will always pay for what you get. See, I just moved it to another level. That's all. See, that's why people, they don't like to talk to me. The rulers, they don't like to talk to me anymore. Because where they think they being slick on the attack, I wind up using what they say against them. Do you understand? And at the same time, I learned something from them. They may hear me quoting back what they said. But when I quote it back, it don't mean what they thought it meant. Do you understand? So their best thing with me is they don't say nothing. Just whatever I say, they just leave it alone. Because they done found out me and Spock have that in common. I don't bluff. Muslims don't bluff. And Vulcans don't either. So let me show you an example. This is over here. I started reading it. I didn't finish it. I read up to the point where it says, but we speak. This is the second chapter of 1 Corinthians. You notice that nobody say I haven't taken the Bible from them? Nobody said I have not taken the Holy Quran from them? I couldn't take it if I was not the Lord. You would find someone who could go back and forth with me about the book. But you know what happens in court when, especially in medical lawsuits or whatever. If you're not an expert, when an expert takes the stand, he the only one can talk. Do you understand? Now you can question the expert, but you can't dispute the man once he is declared an expert. That's that. Do some of you have proof that I'm not the brother of Jesus and Moses and David and all of them? That I'm not from the same source that they are from? That's what I mean when I say I'm the brother of them. I do the will of their Father. Do you understand? The Son of Man is the executor of judgment. I'm here to do the will of God. Ain't that what you've been praying for? Thy will be done on earth. Well, I'm here to do it. So what's the problem? Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Now you done got what you said you was wishing for. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of who? Didn't say the coming of Jesus. Say the coming of the Lord. Huh? Yeah. So, let's, why is it all that I have to say, why does it all come back to me? It's because I'm the head of the corner. You ever looked at a pyramid? Really looked at one? When they were new, all stairs, all steps, all angles led to one point, and it's called the capstone or the cornerstone. Do you want the head of all corners? That's right. No matter where you turn, the capstone is the head of all corners. And if you look at, you want an example of a pyramid? Take a square. For the bottom of a pyramid is a square. And then draw a X in the middle of it from one corner to the other corner. And you notice all of the corner angles and every angle in the pyramid is made one right there at the center. You see, I'm the head of all corners. You see, you notice Jesus, he cornered them people when they would come up to him questioning him. That's why they stopped questioning him. Is it lawful that we pay taxes? Jesus said, bring me a penny. Whose image and superscription is on there? See, they was trying to get Jesus to say, no, we shouldn't pay no taxes to you. And Jesus threw it back in their face. He said, whose image and superscription is on there? They said, Caesar's. He said, well then, render unto Caesar the things that belong to Caesar, and unto God the things that belong unto God. And they got at his face. See, he cornered them where they could not find a way against him. You see? So this seventh verse of that 1 Corinthians, the second chapter, it says, but we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which God ordained before the world unto our brains, minds. Our glory is our minds. Do you understand? Which none of the princes or sons of this world, sons of men, which none of the princes of this world, none of the sons of Jacob, for had they known it, none of the princes of this world knew these things. They didn't understand these things. You see, the white man, he ain't never understood these books. You hear me? That's why when you see them in some of them movies, and they be beating on a black man, and he's a Christian, and they be beating on him, and say, I'm giving him a chance to turn the other cheek. Why? Because in their reading of the book, turn the other cheek mean let somebody beat you on the other one. Don't never fight back. That's not what that meant. The right cheek is the cheek of tolerance. The left cheek is the cheek of, I'm not going to tolerate that no more. Do you understand? As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, he said, Allah came to do you good. If you will not accept the good, he will do you evil. That every man may have done in his body according to what he have done. As thou hast done, what? If you want me to keep my hands to myself, you better keep yours to yourself. Huh? All right. See, but that's common sense. That's why I told you, in order for you to, but it's amazing how many highly intelligent people walk into a church, and when they check their coat, they must have a rack or something in there where you check your intelligence too. And drop all your intelligence and then go on in there. because ain't nothing they teach in there make any sense. teach you to worship murder, and openly teaching it. Call it Good Friday. That's the day that they supposedly crucified Jesus. And when you ask them, what did they kill him for? Well, he had to die to save us crooks from our sins. No. Do you know how unjust that makes you? To even would accept somebody being killed because of what you've been doing. You see how wicked how evil have been made fair seeming to you? I know you know the sad part is people will say, well, I've been believing this all my life. I ain't no sense in me stopping now. Well, you sound like the biggest idiot that could ever be. Tell me something. When you trying to get somewhere, you claim you're trying to get to heaven. If I'm on the highway, I done been out on the highway many times. And you know, sometimes them signs on the highway, just like on the turnpike. You know, people will tell you get lost on the turnpike. But anyway, you get out there, and if you ain't paying attention, you'll take the wrong ramp. And you be driving, and you start seeing that you don't see no signs, no signs that look like that. I remember when I first came to Mississippi, and I was almost to Lorman, and I pulled into Grand Gulf. I pulled into the Grand Gulf Inn. I was in my Volkswagen back in 81. And I pulled in, and let's see, what did I pull over there for? I pulled over the call to see if I was on the how much further is it? Because wasn't no 4-lane. It was just a two-way. A 2-lane thing with a bunch of trees and stuff. And I said, good gracious. I said, how far is this? Just one hill after another, going up and down. So I pulled in at a car, and sister told me, she said, oh, you going right? Just keep coming this way. I went back and forgot that I had made a right turn into Grand Gulf, and I made a left turn, and I didn't know that I was going the wrong way till I got back to Vicksburg. But do you think that I said, well, I've been going this way this long? No, I pulled over and turned around and went on back the right way. What difference do it make if you trying to get to heaven and you find out that you've been on your way to hell? It's time to turn around. I wouldn't care if you was 90 or 190. Turn around. You don't hear the white man offering no defense for Christianity to me. I'm not just talking to black people. I'm talking to white people who have been deceived too. Turn around. So we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery. The messengers of God told you that it was going to be a mystery to you. And none of the princes of this world, none of the sons of Jacob, brown, yellow, or white folks, None understood it. That's in the book of Revelation, excuse me. It says, no man in heaven, no prophet even understood it. You know why? The book didn't even exist while the prophets were here. They was bringing their parts. That's why they was cut off for speaking the truth at a time when darkness and lies was given to rule. You hear me? Then it says, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. This is what people don't understand. That's talking about Jesus. No, that's not talking about Jesus. That's talking about me. What you did to Jesus was to me. If he hadn't brought my words to you, you would not have did what you did to him. Neubauer asked me that, and I told him just what the scripture said I would tell him. As you did it to the least of these my brethren, you did it unto me. But as it is written, I, E-Y-E, I, hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. The scriptures was prepared and then sealed up. And no eye had seen it, no ear had heard it, and no mind had even perceived the understanding of what was in this book. As it says, no man was not only were they able to open and read the book, they wasn't even able to look on it. Do you understand? Then it says, but God hath revealed it. He hath revealed them unto us by his mind, by his spirit. For the spirit searcheth all things. What do you mean the spirit? The mind. That's what the mind is. It is a divisor. And it looks into all things, just like a divisor in a what they call division problem. The divisor is the one that you put into the dividend. Huh? Then it says, and dividend is the divided into. Do you understand? Okay. It says, for the spirit searcheth all things. Yeah. The deep things of God. Remember the messenger said in his sayings to me, Allah has made you a teacher who sees into the depth of things. And so that is the mind that is in me. I see into the depth of things. Then it says, for what man knoweth the things of man, save the spirit of man, which is in him. That's why you notice, wherever you find educated people, you find associate degrees. I didn't hear you. Because whatever one man goes to school and learn, that school is still open. Another man can go there and learn the same thing. Is that right? Yes, sir. So it says, for what man knoweth the things of a man, except the spirit of a man, which is in him? Even so, the things of God knoweth no man but the mind of God. Huh? I didn't hear you. Then it says, now we have received not the spirit of the world. This knowledge, you notice, the Bible don't tell you that it was authored by King James or authored by this person or that person. The Bible don't tell you that. You ain't got no author of the Bible there. No, sir. They tell you that it's the authorized version, authorized King James version. But it ain't, you know how people tell you a story and they say, well, yes, that ain't how that went. You say, well, this is my version of it. Do you understand? So he gave you his version of it. Huh? Then it says, now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit which is of God. This word that's in the Bible and the Holy Quran is not the word of the world. It is the word of God. Do you understand? And it says that we might know the things that are freely given to us of God. That we may know means that we may understand the things that are freely given to us by God. You notice, I'm the only one who got teachings out there that you can go download for free. I know you. You see that? Okay. At least I'm one of the only ones. I haven't checked to see if anybody else is doing that. But what I'm teaching is not for sale. It's free. All you have to do is go down the internet and download it. And it says, which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth. That's why it's a mystery. Because if it was in y'all's words, you would understand it. But not in the, as it says, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth. Man's here is these made man. Do you understand? Which the made man's wisdom is. But which the Holy Ghost teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual things. That's why you can't understand it. Because in order to compare spiritual things with spiritual things, like I do, I compare the Holy Bible with the Holy Quran, and I compare Jesus' words with Moses' words, and all of that. You can't do that. Do you understand? Because you don't have a spiritual mind. I'm his firstborn, the firstborn of a spiritual mind. Do you understand? Then it says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God. The natural mind, W.D. told the truth when he said man means mind. Do you understand? Okay. A good example. All hands man your stations. All hands mind your stations. I didn't hear you. All right. It says, but the natural man or mind receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God. Receiveth not the understanding of things that are of the Word of God. Huh? For they are foolishness unto him. Well, why you think they call the messenger of God crazy? Why you think they call me? Remember when some of them used to come in here and try to make fun? Huh? Because what I was teaching sounded like foolishness to them. Do you understand? Now they are the fools, but they know not. Huh? I mean, if you heard Einstein talking, even in your world, when he was talking about the theory of relativity and those E equals, what is that, energy equals mass or matter, accelerated at the speed of light multiplied times itself, would release great amounts of energy. You know, most people, when they heard that, I would have been one of them and said, what in the world are he talking about? Do you understand? Because his mind was so far above the average person's mind. Do you understand? Okay. So it says, but the natural mind receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. neither can he know them. He can't understand them because they are spiritually known. They are spiritually understood. That's what discerned means. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things. Now you see why I'm the judge? And why when I call people dogs and that kind of thing to the unlearned ear, they think I'm name calling. But when I tell somebody that they're a dog, I know what I'm saying. A low-down dog, a low-down despiser of God. Do you understand? That's why he's low down, because he despises the truth. The truth will uplift him. The truth will exalt you. But arrogance will abase you. And so you just low down. Do you understand? Okay. It says, but he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. You remember I offered you the chance to tell me what's wrong with me? You know why you can't point out nothing wrong with me? It's because as far as you can see, it ain't nothing wrong with me. Do you understand? So, it says, for who hath known the mind of the Lord? Who have understood the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? You remember when I was talking to Roy? You remember that? Was he able to instruct me on anything, or was I instructing him? That's my point. Ain't none of y'all able to instruct me. I'm the one gives instructions. So, but we have the mind of Christ. Notice, they didn't make themselves my equal. He said, who have known or understood the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. We have the mind that is anointed by the Lord. Do you understand? So we don't instruct him. He instructs us. Do you understand? And so that's why I'm able to take the Bible and the Holy Quran and teach you the true understanding of them. And the people who've been teaching you, saying they're teaching you the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, they have to shut their mouth, because now they know beyond any reasonable doubt, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that I'm the only one who understands these books. You know, even, let me show you something. You over in the East who have the Holy Quran, you had the Holy Quran before me. Now, you wasn't teaching from the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible. You was teaching from the Holy Quran and calling it the book of the Muslim, and calling the Bible a Christian book. And the Bible is not a Christian book. All scripture are Muslim scriptures. But you couldn't understand the Bible, so you said the Bible is false or full of falsehoods and all that. And what kind of, the Bible was purposely put and kept that way. That was Allah's way of protecting it. It's just like all fruit have a part that you have to throw away, just about. You know. Have you ever peeled a grape? You can peel a grape to show you that that's fiber. I mean, it ain't no nutritional value in that hull there, but it is a fiber to help loosen up your bowels. Do you understand? But you notice a banana, you have to take part and throw part away. Is that right? An apple, the hull of an apple tastes terrible. Do you understand? An orange, you peel it, you throw that part away, and you eat the edible part. So it is with the Bible. You throw the Holy Quran is just about, you don't have to throw none of it away. But because it's a reminder of the good part that's in the Bible. Do you understand? But the Holy Bible is a protected book. You see, and if you don't know how to peel it, it ain't gonna help you. Matter of fact, if you eat the whole thing, it'll make you sick. It'll make you crazy. I'm telling you. The time cometh when whoever killeth you will think he doing God service. To show you. He done misunderstood what he read. Huh? Yeah. Mess you up. So, you were told to wait on the Lord. David told you to wait on the Lord and be of good courage. And he will strengthen your heart. He will give understanding to your mind. Wait, I say, on the Lord. That's what David told you. Solomon said, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. And in all of your scriptures, that's your ways is your scriptures. Remember Jesus said, I am the way. And since the Holy Quran teaches you that we make no distinction between any of the prophets of God or messengers of God, then if Jesus was the way, what was Moses and David and Solomon and Jeremiah and Isaiah? All of them were the way. And the Holy Quran verifies that by saying that a questioner asked about the chastisement to befall the disbelievers. There's none to avert it from Allah, the Lord of the ways of ascent. And what did Jesus say? No man ascendeth unto the Father but by me. I didn't hear you. So each messenger of God was like a staircase on a pyramid, a step on a pyramid, ascending up to the apex or the capstone. I didn't hear you. And I'm the capstone. That's why all of them lead you to me, and then they leave you right there. So, I know people get tired of me pointing out that it's all about me. It ain't my fault that it's all about me. Show me a scripture that ain't about me. You notice, you don't get nothing after the coming of the Son of Man. Jesus left his prophecy right there. He said, as the lightning comes out of the east and shineth, even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Period. Huh? So, all I'm telling you about my coming. So if I was you, I would just rejoice and be exceedingly glad that I live to see the Lord himself. So, you really had to go some. The white man is a long way from being a fool, brother. Do you honestly think that I could stand up here in Mississippi declaring myself to be the Lord of white people? And they don't say nothing if I wasn't. He about a happy camper right now to find out that I'm not here to destroy him. I'm here to destroy the mind. Actually, I'm here to change the mind that we put in him. Do you understand? It's just like a caterpillar. Man, farmers that's trying to grow stuff hate caterpillars. They love butterflies, though. But they be glad as I don't know what when that little booger stop eating up the leaves and stuff and plaguing their crops and stuff and turns into a creature that don't eat leaves. You understand? So, we are here to change everybody. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. If any man wrap himself up in the teachings of Christ, of the anointed ones of God, that's what you're doing when you come in my class. I'm wrapping you up in the teachings of the messengers of God, of Christ. And you are becoming a new person, a new creature. Do you understand? So all praise is due to Allah. Yeah, that's what happened when you go to school in this world. When I went into the Marine Corps, I was a civilian. When I came out of the Marine Corps, out of boot camp, I was a Marine. I was a new person. Do you understand? That's happening all around you all the time. You went into grade school an ignorant child. You graduated, some of you at the top of your class, a scholar with a scholarship. Huh? And then you went to college. You didn't go in there an engineer. You came out an engineer after wrapping yourself up in the book of engineering. I didn't hear you. You see how it all makes sense? Okay. So just get on in the class here with me. And we go out, we go in, you come in here, and we are as two. But when we leave out of here, we are as one. Do you understand? There you go. You can go back to your school and talk to your teacher and speak their language after you done been taught by them. Yes. I had that to do myself. I had to go in school and learn who I am. And now I'm learning who my brethren are. I'm learning who my body is. And everybody that's becoming one with me is part of my body. And we are going to inherit the earth. I'm saying to those over in the Sudan that's making war on each other, y'all need to get and sit down at the table and talk to each other and put them rifles and stuff down and agree. Africa is a big place. The Sudan is room enough. You've been living over there together all this time. Why don't you just, if you can't agree on how you want to do, well then divide yourself up and agree to respect each other's way and then compete with each other in the doing of good and see whose way is best. But why you got to kill each other? Why you got to go the way of Cain, who murdered his brother? Don't do it. Tell you what, every one of you that's got a weapon that's not produced in the Sudan, put it down. Use the weapon that you made. You'll see your weapons were supplied to you by somebody else, with the hope that you would kill each other. This is what's going on with America here right now. They trying to get the forces of Satan is trying to get the people of America to murder themselves. Then they don't have to worry about America. If they murder each other, then it won't be no more America. There won't be no more USA. Do you understand? And that's happening, look like all over now. All over the earth. Satan has come down with great wrath, for he knows that he have but a short time. Something in him telling him that this is the end. So they're putting up a last fight to get you to murder your own people. Huh? So don't do it. I'm telling you, none of you have anything to fear from my followers or myself. We don't carry weapons. We don't believe in murdering one another. If you disagree with a human being about something, why don't you sit down and talk about it and agree on the truth? If you have the truth, you can prove that what you have is right. Then there's no reason to fight somebody. Just sit down and reason with each other. And if people don't want to reason, then trust in Allah to deal with those who would murder you for standing up for the truth. You see these tornadoes and things that you see happening everywhere, snow happening where you ain't never seen it before and all this stuff. This is the day of judgment. Allah is well able to protect us. He's well able to defend us against those who would like to declare war against us. And he said, as the messenger said, Allah told him, he said, he bid me to disarm myself. He said, if there's any fighting to be done, he said, I will do that. Make no mistake, Allah can stop their heart just like that. Yeah. So it is written here. This is the 172nd verse of the Holy Quran in chapter 3, verse 172. Those who responded to the call of Allah and his messenger, and the messenger after the misfortune had befallen them, for such among them who do good and fear God and keep his commandment. That's what keep your duty is. For such among them who do good and keep their duty is a great reward. Those to whom men said, surely people have gathered against you, so fear them. But this increased their faith. You remember when people were trying to get you to be afraid? But this increased their faith. And they said, Allah is sufficient for us, and he is an excellent guardian. So they returned with favor from Allah and his grace. No evil touched them, and they followed the pleasure of Allah. And Allah is the Lord of mighty grace. Huh? We beheld his glory. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Huh? It is the devil. It is the deviser of illusion who only frightens his friends. He frightens people into obeying him. You know, if you do whatsoever I command you, then are you my friend. Huh? That's what Donald Trump said about Mike Pence. Remember? He said, if he does it, then he will be greatly honored in so many words. He said, but if he don't do it, I don't think he's going to be my friend anymore. He's trying to frighten him into being his friend. You understand? It is only the devil who only frightens. It is the devil who only frightens his friends. He frightens people into doing what he wants them to do. Huh? But fear them not, and fear me, if you are believers. whosoever believeth on him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Huh? It says, and let not those grieve thee who run into disbelief precipitately. Surely, meaning in degrees. They run into it like precipitation happens. It goes up little by little every day. You understand? Then it says, and let not those grieve thee who run into disbelief precipitately. Like they go on the internet and they gradually sipping up lies. Huh? Go to Fox News every day and sip up some more lies. Huh? And then it says, surely they can do no harm to Allah. You notice, I'm proving they can't do no harm to the truth. They scared to even come in here. Usually, they'll try to twist something that somebody say. Is that right? But you know, you'll never see Fox News or nothing. They didn't play none of me and Benny Thompson's interview. They talked about it. Huh? But they didn't show our face, my face and his face talking to each other. Remember, I was on camera there. And so they barely showed a little bit, but they didn't let nobody know that I was calling myself the Lord or the Son of Man. How come they didn't tell nobody that? I mean, that should have been a drawing card. This man calling himself the Lord. This crazy nigga here. Is that right? No. They weren't going to tell nobody. because they know I am the Lord. You see? If I'm not the Lord, why don't you tell people that I'm crazy? They don't want you to know I'm here. Do you understand? So, it says, those to whom men said, surely, people have gathered against you, so fear them. Just like when the FBI told some of the people that they couldn't protect, told them they need Ruby. What was her name? Ruby and Shane. Shay, yeah. Told them they need to leave for a while. And I don't need to go nowhere. Ain't nobody threatening me. By the time you get it out of your mouth, that may be the last words you ever speak. Yeah. Because I told you what you can expect, even when you planning on saying something that you ain't got no business to me. That tightness that you feel in your forehead, that's Allah's warning to you. What is it, son?
Yes, sir. Lyndon Chapman says, sir, these same two generals were involved in doing genocide to black peoples of Africa who were not mixed with Arabs.
Well, I don't know who it is, but they got black people over there killing each other. And that alone should wake you up to the fact that, you need to consider who it is you listening to. I mean, you don't have to kill a person because they disagree with you. Won't you sit down at the table of, this world calls it diplomacy. I say sit down at the table of brotherhood and iron out your differences. And if you can't iron them out, well then agree to, okay, y'all live over there and we'll live over here and we will see whose way is best. And when we see who gets the farthest, then we can become one again. Do you understand? We'll adopt whatever way is best. And it says, but, so they returned with favor from Allah and his grace. No evil touched them, and they followed the pleasure of Allah, and Allah is the Lord of mighty grace. It is the devil. It is the deviser of illusion who only frightens his friends. Yeah. But fear them not, and fear me, if you are believers. And let not those grieve thee who run into disbelief precipitately. Surely they can do no harm to Allah. Allah intends not to assign them any portion in the hereafter. And for them is a grievous chastisement. Oh yeah. Those who buy disbelief at the price of faith can do no harm to Allah. And for them is a painful chastisement. This is all, it's just, the whole thing it just fit like a glove to this day and time that we living in. So I say to all of you, get behind me and stay there, and you'll be fine. Okay, we left off on page what? 439? At the top of the page, didn't we? Okay. Other individuals, this is January 6th. Other individuals advising President Trump and his campaign also advocated for a role for the vice president at the joint session. Other individuals inside and outside the White House also advanced versions of the theory that the vice president had agency in the joint session. It's like someone telling you, I know murder is against the law, but you can do it. What they gonna do if you do it? Do you understand? See, that's what they was pushing Pence for. That's what he needed courage to do. Do you understand? Yeah. And it says, the issue of Vice President Pence's role came up during a December meeting in the Oval Office. Either President Trump or his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, tasked John McEntee, the director of the Presidential Personnel Office, with researching the matter further. Though McEntee was one of President Trump's close advisors, he was not a lawyer and had no relevant experience. Yet he wrote a one-page memo claiming that, quote, the VP has substantial discretion. Now, what does the term devil mean? Deviser of illusion, right? So what was this research that he was doing? Wasn't no research at all. It was to delude Pence into doing something, into breaking the law. Do you understand? Now, there you go. It says after he wrote a one-page memo claiming that the VP, quote, the VP has substantial discretion to address issues with the electoral process. This wasn't the only one-page analysis drafted by McEntee before January 6th. He later proposed a quote-unquote middle path in which he envisioned the vice president accepting only half the electoral votes from 6 disputed states. Quote, specifically, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. McEntee portrayed this as a way to avoid, quote, disenfranchising, unquote, states while still achieving the desired result. See, this is the, ain't no wonder they didn't charge all of these people. It's so many of them. The Justice Department got their work cut out for them. Delivering a second term to President Trump. You see, they was figuring out ways to do the Green Bay sweep. Do you understand? And it says, McEntee conveyed his memo to the president with a cover note reading, quote, "This is probably our only realistic option because it would give Pence an out." Notice, there again, they are acknowledging that Pence ain't got no business doing that. Huh? Okay. McEntee told the select committee that this judgment was based on an assessment that, quote, "it was like pretty obvious the vice president wasn't going to just reject the electors of whatever was being asked of him at that time," unquote. Another advocate of a plan for the vice president to play a role in the joint session was Gina Ellis, a lawyer working for the Trump campaign. She argued in 2 memos that Vice President Pence had the power to delay the counting of certified electoral votes, which he did not. He did not have no power to do that. Then it says, in the first memo addressed to President Trump and dated December 31st, 2020, and I'm going to tell you something else. If they hadn't came on back in there and carried out their constitutional duty, if any of those senators and any of those representatives had said they wasn't going to go back in there, they would have been breaking the law too. I don't care. You ain't supposed to let nothing stop you from doing that job. That was the date that was supposed to certify the winner of the election, and you know they had no choice but to get back in there. Do you understand? So Ellis advised, let me see, in the first memo addressed to President Trump and dated December 31st, 2020, Ellis advised that Vice President Pence should, quote, not open any of the votes, unquote, from 6 states that, quote, currently have electoral delegates in dispute, unquote. Ellis asserted that this, quote, unquote, dispute provided, quote, sufficient rational and legal basis to question whether the state law and constitution was followed, unquote. Ellis proposed a delay of 10 days as the vice president and Congress awaited a, quote, response from the state legislatures, which would then need to meet in an emergency electoral session. There wasn't none for no state legislature to meet on. They had been to court already, and the courts didn't uphold none of their things. There wasn't nothing else to do. Period. So she needs to be arrested too. All of them that was participating in this. This was an attempted coup. And everybody who had a hand in it needs to be arrested. If any of the state legislatures, quote, fails to provide a timely response, no electoral votes can be opened and counted from that state, unquote. Ellis claimed that Vice President Pence would not be quote, exercising discretion would not be exercising discretion nor establishing new precedent, unquote, but instead, quote, simply asking for clarification from the constitutionally appointed authority. The constitutionally appointed authority was the Electoral College. And the governors and whoever signs off on the electoral count, that had already been done. Ellis sent the substance of this memorandum in an email to Fox News host Jeannie Pirro on January 1st, 2021, under the subject line, quote, constitutional options, unquote. And on, yeah, she looked like a redneck. Yeah, I'm looking at her. And on January 4th, 2021, she sent the same substance to Fox News contributor John Solomon under the subject line, quote, Pence option, unquote. Ellis addressed a second memo dated January 5th, 2021 to Jay Sekulow, an outside attorney who represented President Trump during his first impeachment proceedings and in other litigation. Ellis again claimed that Vice President Pence had the power to delay the certification of the vote. Ellis recommended that the vice president should, when he arrived at the first contested state, Arizona, quote, simply stop the count, unquote, on the basis that the states had not made a, quote, final determination of ascertainment of electors, unquote. Unquote. Quote, the states would therefore have to act, unquote. Sekulow clearly disagreed. Quote, some have speculated that the vice president could simply say, I'm not going to accept these electors, that he has the authority to do that under the Constitution, unquote. Sekulow said during an episode of his radio show, quote, I actually don't think that's what the Constitution has in mind, unquote. Sekulow added that the vice president serves a merely, quote, ministerial procedural function, unquote. In addition, Hirschman discussed this memo with Sekulow. They agreed that Ellis did not have the, quote, qualifications or the experience to be giving advice on this, unquote, or to be, quote, litigating the challenges, unquote. That President Trump's team, the challenges that President Trump's team was filing in court. Hirschman did not think that Sekulow shared the memo with the president. Chapter 5.2. President Trump and his allies exert intense public and private pressure on the vice president in advance of the joint session of Congress on January 6th. I want you all, while you listening to this, think of the time and care that was put into this investigation to come out with this detail of a book to what actually took place. That committee, that January 6th committee who investigated this attempted coup, they did their job. I notice ain't nobody unmuted their phone to say that they heard a lie in here yet. January 2nd, 2021, the Vice President meets with his advisors, cementing his intended path for the joint session. On January 2nd, 2021, Vice President Pence met with his counsel, Greg Jacob, Chief of Staff Mark Short, and Matt Morgan to discuss the joint session. Morgan was the Trump campaign's general counsel and had previously served as counsel to Vice President Pence. At this point, the Vice President already had a clear understanding of what his role would be in the electoral count. Vice President Pence was concerned that most people did not understand how the certification of the electoral votes worked. So Jacob began drafting a statement for the Vice President to issue on January 6th. The statement was intended to provide a, quote, civic education, unquote, on the joint session, explaining to the American people his actions, including why the Vice President, quote, didn't have the authorities that others had suggested that he might, unquote. The men discussed the various points of pressure being applied to the Vice President, including Eastman's theories, the Gohmert suit, Ellis's arguments, as well as how the electoral count process should work. They also discussed allegations of irregularities and maladministration of the election, concluding that none of the allegations raised was sufficient to reverse President Trump's defeat. While Vice President Pence recognized Congress's authority under the Electoral Count Act to raise objections to the certification, neither he nor his staff were aware of any evidence of fraud that would have had a material effect on the outcome of the election in any state. Because of President Trump's repetition of election fraud allegations, Jacob and the Vice President's staff conducted their own evaluation of these claims. Jacob asked Morgan to send the campaign's best evidence of election, quote, fraud, maladministration, irregularities, and abuses in the system, unquote. The Vice President's legal staff memorialized the review they conducted of these materials in a memo to Vice President Pence, which concluded, quote, most allegations of substantive voter fraud defined to mean the casting of illegal ballots in violation of prevailing election laws are either relatively small in number or cannot be verified. Vice President Pence also discussed the Trump campaign's fake electors with his advisors. Both Jacob and Morgan assured Vice President Pence that there were not dual slates of electors. The electors organized by the Trump campaign were not valid. Morgan had already written a memo on the topic in December, concluding that the, quote, alternate, unquote, electors, that is fake lacked a certificate Let me read that part again. It says, Morgan had already written a memo on the topic in December, concluding that alternate, quote unquote, electors, that is, fake electors, lacked a certificate of ascertainment issued by the state. Without such an ascertainment, the Trump campaign's fake electors had no standing during the joint session. Jacob had also prepared a, quote, unquote, flowchart memo outlining each of the legal provisions implicated in the joint session on January 6th. Jacob advised Vice President Pence that, quote, none of the slates that had been sent in would qualify as an alternate slate within the meaning of the Electoral Count Act, unquote. Vice President Pence was still worried that the fake electors issue was sowing confusion, so he wanted his statement on January 6th to be as transparent as possible. That same day, January 2nd, Mark Short released a brief statement on behalf of the Vice President. Quote, Vice President Pence shares the concerns of millions of Americans about voter fraud and irregularities in the last election, unquote. The statement read, quote, the Vice President welcomes the efforts of members of the House and Senate to use the authority they have under the law to raise objections and bring forward evidence before the Congress and the American people on January 6th, unquote. Short testified that the statement was consistent with the Vice President's view that he did not have the power to reject electors. Short issued this statement because of the quote, unquote, swirl regarding the question of, quote, whether, quote, where Vice President Pence stood, unquote. Steve Bannon's podcast, War Room Pandemic, was one of the primary sources of this swirl. January 2nd, 2021, Eastman and Bannon questioned the, quote, courage and spine, unquote, of Vice President Pence. It don't take courage to break laws. It takes audacity. Do you understand? Shamelessness. That's what it takes. To stand out, to openly do something that you know is wrong and try to convince people that it's right. And the courage ain't got nothing to do with that. Steve Bannon's podcast, War Room Pandemic, was one of the primary sources of this swirl. Eastman was a guest on, you notice, don't none of them boys, I talk about them like, man, if somebody was talking about me like I talk about them, I'd have been and said something. But you notice they don't say nothing. Huh? Eastman was a guest on a January 2nd episode of Bannon's show. Much of their conversation focused on Vice President Pence and the belief that he had the power to overturn the election. No, it was no belief. It should be called a lie. For they knew the Vice President didn't have no power to overturn that election. And it says, quote, we are entering into one of the most important constitutional crises, then unintelligible, the country's ever had, unquote, Bannon said. Bannon complained that Vice President Pence had, quote, spit the bit, unquote. Why did he say spit the bit? Because Trump had a bit in his mouth and just taking him wherever he wanted to go. But when you do know that bit, right? Yeah, and they was mad because they couldn't get Pence to go along with the coup. You understand? It's, he spit the bit, meaning he had given up on efforts to keep President Trump in power. Eastman claimed that the election had been, quote, illegally conducted, unquote, and so the certified votes now, quote, devolved back to the state legislatures, and the only other place where it devolved back to is to Congress, and particularly the vice president, who will sit in presiding over a joint session of Congress beginning on January 6th to count the ballots, unquote. Eastman claimed that the vice president and Congress had the power to reject the certified electors from several states out of hand. Quote, they've got multiple slates of ballots from 7 states, unquote. Eastman said, quote, and they've got to decide which is the valid slate to count. I think they have that authority to make that determination on their own, unquote. I think. You see how he played with words? But that wouldn't get him off if when that won't help him when they arrest him for that attempted coup. I thought this and I thought that. No, you a lawyer. Thought ain't got nothing to do with it. What did the law say? What law was you acting on? That's where you get people like that. Bannon claimed the vice president of the United States is, quote, hardwired in, unquote, and an, quote, actual decision maker, unquote. The vice president's role is not ministerial, quote unquote, ministerial, Bannon declared. Eastman agreed. Are we to assume that this is going to be a climactic battle that's going to take place this week about the very question of the constitutionality of the Electoral Count Act of 1887? Bannon asked, unquote. Eastman replied, quote, I think a lot of that depends. This is theatrics here, you know, for the dummies who sitting up there listening to Dumb and Dumber there. He says, Eastman replied, quote, I think a lot of that depends on the courage and the spine of the individuals involved, unquote. Bannon asked Eastman if he meant Vice President Mike Pence. Quote, unquote. Yes, Eastman answered. January 3rd, 2021. You know they sound like elementary school students. He's scared. Is he scared? He's too scared. I dare you to do it. I know you won't do it. You're scared. He's scared. Could you imagine that? These grown men trying to embarrass Mike Pence into breaking the law to show he ain't scared. Ain't that something? Boy, this is rich. These is the people that want to rule the world? You sorry nigga, you couldn't rule a kennel of dogs. I told you niggas come in all colors, didn't I? There you go. January 3rd, 2021. Eastman drafts another, quote, January 6th scenario, unquote, memo. Quote, wargaming, unquote, the ways that Vice President Pence could change the outcome of the election. Boy, he just giving, it's the gift that keeps on giving, ain't it? That boy, he just trumping up the charges on himself, ain't he? It says, the next day, January 3rd, 2021, Eastman drafted a 6-page memo that imagined several scenarios. At least they acknowledge that it's an imagination. Do you understand? It said Eastman drafted a 6-page memo that imagined several scenarios for January 6th, only some of which led to President Trump's victory. In a section titled, quote, "Wargaming the alternatives, wargaming the alternatives," unquote, Eastman set forth the ways he thought President Trump could remain in power. Importantly, Eastman concluded that President Trump could remain president if, and only if, Vice President Pence followed Eastman's illegal advice and determined which electoral college ballots were, quote unquote, valid. In another scenario, Eastman imagined that President Trump may somehow win re-election in January 2021 if Vice President Pence remanded the electoral votes to state legislatures, such that they could have 10 days to investigate President Trump's baseless claims of fraud. In that case, Eastman allowed that former Vice President Biden may still win should the state legislatures determine that the evidence was, quote, insufficient to alter the results of the election. That had already been determined by the Attorney General. Huh? Barr, remember William Barr? That horse had already left the stable. So let's see here. Eastman knew that there were no valid, quote, alternate, unquote, slates, but he nonetheless predicated his advice to the vice president and president on this claim. Well, tell the big lie, and what? They just keep telling big lies and sticking to them. Then it says, in his 6-page memo, I told you, they want to be Hitler. They'll want to be Hitler. They ain't had sense enough to be. Do you understand? Because Hitler wouldn't have been that stupid, what they doing now. Hitler got in power legally. Do you understand? He had a gift for gab, and he used it and seduced the German people. Huh? Of course, he didn't stay in there but one term either. Did he complete his term? I don't think he completed his term, did he? He started all them wars, man. But anyway, then it says, even since January 6th, Eastman has continued to affirm and defend his assertion that there were dual slates of electors, writing, quote, Trump electors from 7 states in which election challenges were still pending met, albeit of their own accord, on the date designated by Congress and cast their votes and transmitted those votes to Congress, unquote. Eastman used these slates. They must, they was doing all of this stuff thinking that slates of electors just, once you can send them up there and they won't know who's valid and who ain't, I mean, they didn't know how this check and balance system worked, man. But anyway.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
To answer your question, Hitler was in power he was the dictator of Germany from 1933 to 1945. When he
Okay.
committed suicide.
Yeah. So he had them going for a while because they was winning. They was winning all of them. You know, he was just bowling over Europe. And so one while there, you know, that just go to show you. You got people that are so gullible that they can see you doing a wrong thing, but if you being successful with it, white people especially, y'all go along with wrong just because he seemed to be getting away with it. That's what Al Capone was doing. That's what all them gangsters back in the roaring 20s was doing. Matter of fact, you made heroes out of some of them people. But you're devils, so wasn't too much we can do about that. But we can do plenty about it now. If you want to go along with wrong now, you going right on into the lake of fire. Now, you mark my words. Eastman used these slates as a premise for his argument that the result of the election was disputed. However, Eastman acknowledged on multiple occasions, both before and after January 6th, that these, quote, unquote, dual slates had no legal significance. In an email sent on December 19th, 2020, Eastman wrote that the 7 Trump-Pence slates of electors, quote, will be dead on arrival in Congress, unquote. Huh? Unless those electors get a certification from their state legislators. Of course, this certification never came, and there was no basis for any action on the, quote, dual slates, unquote. Nevertheless, on December 23rd, now, I mean, this is, you know, people, do you know how stupid Donald Trump and them think these people are? Here he wants legislators. Now listen good. He wants judges and legislators to go along with him being installed as a dictator, and the army and everybody to go along with him. And then after he get in there to dictating, he gonna do away with all of them. That boy, that's rich, ain't it? A dictatorship, you don't have no more legislative powers in a dictatorship. Do you understand that? And I'm surprised more than just Rusty Bowers told him, man, I'm not going to do that. And Hirschman told him, you must be out of your effing mind. But look how many of these people that this man approached with that crazy idea. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, it's 10 o'clock. So we left off on dual slates, didn't we? At that first paragraph. So we're on page 444, and we will take it up at nevertheless. All right? Okay. Any questions? Anyone have something they want to ask me? Okay. You know, the January 6th committee needs to be commended for their hard work and their perseverance in this. They did a magnificent job of articulating and presenting the evidence. They had tons of evidence against these people. All right. Let me tell you something. The United States is kind of set up like the human body. It's got many parts to it, many organizations inside, organs inside of it. And Donald Trump was trying to paralyze the body. But you know, when you have say-so over what goes on in your community, it's like being able to move your finger on your hand. Each community, each city has its own mayor and has its own city councilman, all of that, to help you experience the freedom of self-governance. Ain't that something? And you try to trade that in. You got these fools trying to convince you to trade that in for a dictator. Yeah. The only dictator I will accept is Almighty God Allah, because only thing He asks us to do is what's good for us. You ask my followers. I ask them to do things that's good for them. I ain't here trying to get them to carry me. Anyway, may Allah bless us, keep us safe, and in our right minds. My biggest problem with some of y'all is that you don't take care of the things that I give you. Here you know that everything that we got, our money went into putting it in. And then I put it at your disposal. And we take all of the burden off of you, and instead of you remembering that light bills have to be paid, water bills have to be paid, the equipment that you have, if you leave, for instance, over in the school, you don't see that everything is turned off like it's supposed to be. It's not going to last as long. Then you'll be coming to my, we need another one of these and another one of that. And it wouldn't happen so much if you would just take the time and remember that we pay for all of these things. Now show me that you are an adult and understand that ain't nothing being given to us. We have to pay for all of this stuff that we have, which means we need to take care of it. Walk in a room behind you and then nobody in there, you gone for the day and the lights still left on. The projector still left on. What is that? You could have had a monitor. You got teenagers over there. You could appoint somebody to go behind and make sure that the place is cleaned up or whatnot. Take care of what you have, or you're not going to have nothing. Ain't no more slaves. I don't mind serving, but I do mind being abused. May Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. If you want to be in your right mind, you know, most of you don't understand what's meant by giving you a name. I'm giving all of my followers a new name. You must have forgot how things are named. You done forgot that a tree is known by the name of its fruit? Men and women are known by what they do. I'm giving you instructions on what to do. And if you follow those instructions, then your name is in the book of life. The book of life is the word of God. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. The Word of God is life and how to live it. And if the way you acting and living ain't in accord with what's in the Word of God, your name ain't in the book of life. All right. May Allah's salam alaikum.
This session